Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Get Out, our weekly podcast about nothing, or more accurately, about Seinfeld. We're going through the classic sitcom week by week, episode by episode. And today we are on season 2, episode 6. This is episode number 11 of our podcast. The Chinese restaurant. I was so excited for this one. I think this is one of the first ones you showed me.
This is a great one.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it was definitely, like, I remember either you telling me or I just noticed. To be honest, it's probably you telling me because I don't know if I would have noticed. The fact that it all takes place, in basically one scene, right? Like, there are no... Technically, there's one cut, but, it's all one scene. There's no jumping back and forth, all one location. So even, like, before I was really, like, a Seinfeld fan, I knew, like, oh, this episode is different. Like, they're, like, trying something here.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And then watching it back again this week, now that I'm, like, much more familiar with the characters, was super cool also. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Mom, what were some of your initial thoughts watching the episode again?
Yeah.
Well, I noticed it's Hunan. Hunan restaurant, when they walked in, they showed a picture, of Hunan, which is Grandma's favorite. She frequent Hunan. She became friends with the owners of that place in Oklahoma, so
nice.
It was cool watching it again. I haven't seen this episode in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. The guy, the Chinese guy, is hilarious, and I really love that it's all shot there. I like that, Kramer's not in this episode at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was cool watching it again, and it's very funny. So I laughed a lot. It was good.
Yes.
It was great watching it again.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that you kind of learn in the little behind the scenes clip on the Seinfeld DVD, right? So you mentioned that Kramer's not in it, right? And this was the first time that had happened, that one of the 4, I guess since they introduced all 4, it was the first time that one of the 4 wasn't in the episode. And Michael Richards said he was, like, real upset about it. He really wanted to be in it. He knew it was a special episode. He's like, this is cool. I want to do it. And I think either the producers reassured him, like, hey, we're not writing you off. Or, this isn't going to be.
It's just Larry.
Yeah.
No, just Larry. There was nobody else but Larry.
Yeah.
Larry told him, we're not writing you off. You don't go with them anymore.
Right. Yeah. And what I thought was interesting was Larry David also mentioned, like, if this episode took place a couple of seasons later, Kramer would have been.
Absolutely.
Because his character evolves.
Yep.
Which is super interesting.
Michael was upset in the long run, by the way. He wasn't upset initially because he understood the character. It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew because of the show, it made sense. And he was okay with that initially. He wasn't like, he was upset, obviously, long run, but, it was just FOMO. That's all.
Mm-hmm. A couple more interesting things. There was an executive, somebody with the last name Littlefield, on the behind the scenes. And he specifically, like, he owned up to it. He said, look, I didn't get it. I said, nothing happens. They're just waiting for a table. And he actually thought, am I missing pages here? Like, what's going on? So I thought, I admired that he, like, owned up to it and said, I didn't get it. And throughout, Larry and Jerry both shared, and I think even Jason Alexander said at one point that NBC really pushed back pretty hard on this episode, even to the point where they refused to air it in the order that it was shot, right? Like they held it back.
This is now one of the several contributing factors to the season being so out of order.
Right.
Because they try to front up the season with strong episodes, end the season with strong episodes, and they push the Chinese restaurant as far as they possibly could because they did not think it was going to be.
Yeah. So they pushed it, until later in the season after hoping that the show would have already kind of established itself. Excuse me.
Right.
I have in my notes Michael Richards was hurt, so you're probably right. He probably was more hurt than I thought, but I gave him like a devil's avocado kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He knew it was cutting edge. He was definitely respecting it at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was okay with him. Yeah, I wrote here NBC was legit pissed. They did not happy.
Yeah.
Larry David threatened to quit.
Yeah. Yeah. If they messed with the episode. Right?
So funny.
Which is it's
so like you're too.
It's so crazy because it really is one of the ones that a lot of people love, and they absolutely love this episode.
Okay. So
Stand up number 1.
Yeah.
Overtime at the payphone. Now, I never really had this happen to me. I think by the time, I use payphones quite a bit. Like I remember them all the time, but I never remember the overtime thing. I generally needed a payphone very fast anyway.
Right.
It was never,
Mom, come pick me up.
Or just whatever. So but I knew people would talk about it that they would want you to pay more. And I was like, who would actually do that?
Yeah.
But if you're having like these longer calls, which Corey and I were both born in the 80s, so we kind of grew up, like you said, using it.
Oh yeah.
Briefly,
We're using it, but also this never happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it depended on like where you were and who you were calling, because if it wasn't local, a lot of times they did want that extra quarter.
Right. Okay.
Or extra money or extra dime.
Hear that? I got the quarter right here. You want that, don't you?
You want that, don't you? He's got it jingling in his pocket. You want that, don't you? So I think there was I don't really recall like the whole payphone thing, honestly, but like I guess it was depending on who you were calling, how long the call took. If it wasn't local, you would have to like put another thing in there. Eventually, if you don't, it would just click off. It would just stop the call. You would totally disconnect. They would disconnect.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Like there was no option anymore. Mm-hmm. So I guess I got toward the tail end of it where they just gave up. It's like, we're just going to turn your phone off.
Yeah. So they would try to give you time to put that extra money in there. But even if you didn't, they would just disconnect the call. Yeah. So
I don't remember the name of this memoir, but there was a memoir that I read. I want to say it was Amy Poehler, but I don't know if it was accurate or not. But I remember somebody from that sort of group. Amy Poehler, Teen Faye, whatever.
No, I know. It's just funny
how you said it. They talked
about
when they would they didn't have any money, so they would dial collect.
Yeah.
And in the little moment where you say who the call is from, instead of just saying their name, they would say really fast, "Mom, I'm at the mall. Can you pick me up, please? Okay, thanks, bye." And then the call wouldn't even go through. The person would just hear, "You have a collect call from Mom, I'm at the mall."
Yes. I've actually done that back in the day. That's funny.
That's smart.
Yeah.
So I had forgotten about that. So good call on remembering that you heard that somewhere. But that's true. You could just hurry up and get it in there as your name if you hurry.
Poor man's texting.
I mean, I don't remember if I did that or not. I had to have.
Yeah.
But that's good. I like that.
Yeah. But
times have changed.
I feel like the whole theme of this episode around like payphones and calling and things like that is just so frustrating to me. So because I want to complain.
All right, we start off
complain about George.
We start off with the gang kind of walking in. It's just Jerry, Elaine, and George.
To the Hunan.
Yeah.
Walking into Hunan. We see Norman. There he is. That's the stand-in for Kramer. Mm-hmm. He's almost in every episode. Not quite, but he almost is. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's by the front door. He's sitting down. I think he's there the whole episode because they leave. I seen him.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So we are going to get now.
Cool.
They're discussing garbage men, and
cops. Not enough cops on the force, and then that turns into there's not enough garbage men either.
We should just have garbage men that do both.
Yeah, and then Jerry says
cops that are also garbage men,
which is so. I think it's so indicative of all of their characters, right?
Yeah.
Elaine wants security. George wants everything to be clean. And Jerry just wants whatever's funniest. Like it's perfect character profile right there.
Very good. That's good. That's good. You're right. That's a good point. So they get into there's
so they put their name in for the table.
Put their name in, and they where's Tatiana?
Yeah. How many?
So we are at George girlfriend counter. Mom, do you remember what counter we're on for George? Let's see.
5.
Almost 4.
Okay.
So George's doing pretty well. Yeah. So we got Tatiana, and I wrote next to it, George just leaves because of Pooh story.
Oh my gosh!
But we're not there yet.
We're out of order.
No, I know, but that's.
But I can't wait to get to that.
That is her title and forever girlfriend signed for lore.
Yeah.
It needs to be said. Yeah. I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Seinfeld 4, we get the first time he says Seinfeld 4. Also, he puts their name in Seinfeld. It should be 5-10 minutes. Nope. Everything's fine. Normal stuff. Moving on.
So, okay. So George, first of all, I have so many moments where I'm just I feel the need to preach a little bit. So they say how many, and Elaine turns around and it's how many? And what drives me crazy is that they don't know. George is I don't know. I don't know if Tatiana's coming. I gotta go call her. What do you mean you don't why would you not call her before you left the house?
I think he said why. He tried and she wasn't home yet.
Oh, I think he did try and I don't know.
That's why he's stressing about the payphone so bad because he's trying to get her because he knows that window is short.
I got you.
And she's only home for a brief minute, and that's what she needs to hear the plan to go do something.
All right. Well, I guess I can't be angry about that.
Well, I mean,
but it's kind of annoying because I would just be I would just take the table for however many's there.
Right. Just
or
sure.
I would just say 4.
Yeah.
We're waiting on.
Just say 4.
Sure, we're waiting.
There's an extra table. I mean, an extra chair at the table. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's a good point. It's not like they have a 3-top.
True. It's not. It's going to be 4.
That's
4
true.
is
It's a table for 4.
But that is an interesting point. They won't have a 3-top. I wonder if just back then, etiquette wise, if you just didn't do that, you just didn't say maybe nobody's not there yet. That kind of changed it. I don't know.
I do think it is interesting that we see them eating food so much.
Yes.
And obviously there's the diner, but we never see them doing fast food.
No.
It's always
you're right.
A sit down restaurant, which
no, we
I
see.
don't even think they talk about fast food.
It is still a sit down restaurant. You're
Except
right.
for Chinese
with Ping, they order Chinese food. Give name. So they love dining in, but that's also still restaurants.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
It's not. You never see,
Kenny's Roaster was probably the only fast food.
How much? See, I don't know New York area. How much fast food's right around all there.
Well, now it's everywhere. You you have, McDonald's, Burger King. You have all that.
Wasn't there?
And you have little more boutique stuff. You have pubs and burger places and things like that. But I don't. It's not one that I don't think we ever get the name for. But there's one where Jerry and Elaine are sitting in a booth across from each other, but it's not the diner. You see them in that restaurant several times in season 1 and maybe early season 2.
Yeah.
And it just stuck out to me that they're always doing it's not fancy, but it's not fast food either. It's not McDonald's.
No.
So I do wonder maybe that's just the culture.
But Elaine does mention in this episode that she'd rather go to Sky Burger.
She wants to go to Sky Burger.
Right. That is that would be.
Yeah.
And actually that's good to notice because there's going to be a little bit of fast food stuff. We got like Subway place or something.
Yeah, and I was yelling I was just like, guys, just go get a slice. Like, just go get some pizza. You walk in, you walk out, you eat it on the way to the movie. It's fine. I thought Chinese food was like an odd choice.
I think
sit down in a hurry. Yeah, especially if you're in a hurry.
Yeah,
because New York is made for hurrying.
Right. Yeah. So I guess it's just what they do. Like they just go sit and eat places.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'll have to pay more attention to that and see like where else do we see them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I like that. That'll be interesting to kind of keep track of because that's something that most people and like the things I've seen backstage don't as much.
Yeah.
All right. So George wants to call Tatiana. Yeah. So he was trying to get in the payphone. The guy keeps kind of not really shushing away, but turning a little bit. Yeah. Or just kind of
George
obviously ignoring.
Asks him, "How long are you going to be?" And the guy turns around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and then of course,
which at this point, I understand both George and the person on the phone.
Yeah.
I think they're both justified. I understand. Mm-hmm. You're going to gas. That's fair. It's hard to ask somebody, but I understand.
Yeah.
Also, you're trying to have a conversation. You want to turn a little more. Why not? You don't know this person. It's fair.
Yeah.
Now, they mentioned an uncle. I thought for sure it had to be Leo, but they say later in the notes about nothing, it is not Uncle Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered about
the first uncle from the earlier.
They don't know.
Okay.
They never say.
They just him again.
We could have already seen him, and that was him, or it was another one. We don't know. Okay. They just say uncle.
Yeah.
They don't ever specify.
So Jerry mentions, I blew off my uncle to be here tonight because it's, what is it, Plan 9, something. I don't remember the
episode. He's got to see this movie because it's, he talks about it again later about more detail about the movie. But
and it's a real movie.
He was sick.
Plane 9 from outer space.
There we go. And Jerry says, guys, you don't understand. It's not Plan 1 through 8. It's Plan 9.
The worst movie of all time. Apparently, like legendarily, this movie is awful.
So now I really want to watch it.
See, that's the kicker. It's so bad, it's good, and people just rarely in theaters. Every like 10 years is in theaters for like this. Actually, does happen.
Yeah.
And, this was the only time it was going to be there too. It was a premiere, and that was it.
Yeah. So there's.
So they missed it.
You were correct to say like. A sit-down restaurant is an odd choice. Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
If it would have got their table though, fine.
Right.
I don't know. So it's a weird spot there because there's obviously a lot of good ways to go about it. Yeah.
So so George is stressing, trying to get to the payphone. Elaine is hungry. She's starving.
She's hangry.
Yeah.
And Jerry offered her some cookies at the house, and she goes, cookies.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather starve than eat health cookies.
She's so mad. She's so mad.
I'm with her. I'm with her. The health cookies.
No. Oh, they taste awful, but you are hungry. So.
But you're starving.
So
I wouldn't have probably eat them either because I know we're about to go eat. I don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
I hate paying a lot, and I have to like have a lot of leftovers. I get kind of like no.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so.
Okay, so Elaine is hungry anyways. And then she and Jerry are standing there, and this group of people walk in and kind of squeeze past her. And then she realizes it's a party of 4, and they're going straight back to a table. So then obviously she gets upset. She's like, because it happens a couple different times in the episode. I don't remember exactly what she says, but.
She's like, she said, it shouldn't be on who here's first come, first served. It should be based off of who's hungriest.
Who's hungriest.
Yeah.
Yes,
line. That's very funny.
She does say it should be based on who's hungriest instead of first come, first serve.
She's delirious at this point. I don't know. Like I forgot how she's
very hungry.
She's like, it's like kind of losing it a little bit. I love it.
So George comes back because he's still waiting for this guy to get off the phone.
And George recognizes that lady in the back though.
Jerry does.
Yeah. And
Jerry does, yeah.
Who's that from?
Yeah.
Also, the guy on the payphone returns and he's the guy that takes pictures of George's hands.
Oh, okay.
When George is a hand model later on. But moving on.
Well, yeah.
So real fun fact, this whole episode only took an hour and a half to film.
Right.
And
wow.
Mary was sure, just knew certainly this was the shortest recording ever that they ever did with the audience. Have to be.
Yeah.
Because it's so there's just one scene.
Can you imagine being in the audience for that, like, and realizing, this is the whole episode. We get to see them do the whole episode in front of us.
Because usually they don't. There's usually stock footage here or there, or you have a scene filmed off of set, like when Elaine was in Paris with their therapist, like, you know, so like extra stuff we filmed on the street. You can't really do this in front of an audience. You would film it. Very
I know
cool, actually.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus mentioned at some point in the behind the scenes that she felt like it was doing a play, and it was so much fun because
she loved it.
It's all one scene. You're on stage together. It's all in front of an audience. Super cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
So I now like to let me segue this into what we're saying. And I wrote, would you do what Elaine did?
Yeah.
So now she's hangry. And she's
hangry, and she says, "I'm so hungry."
She's drooling, practically staring at this table, and she's just watching and she's freaking out. And Jerry's just like, I love it because Jerry's such an instigator. He's like, "Hey, I'll bet you $50 to go eat something off the table.
There's $50 in it if you'll eat
Jerry, I get it, but you're kind of being an a-hole, bud. Because like at the same time, like, dude, you know she's hungry. You know that's not cool. But you just want to see somebody do it. And that's why he did it. He doesn't care who it is. And then Lane's like, okay. So like, like just
$50. And George's line.
Great line. Yeah. Go ahead. Go for it.
So one thing that you said to me when we were watching it is like Elaine is a little bit more gullible in these early episodes. Yeah. Like later on, they wouldn't get her like this.
Nope.
But Jerry talks her into it.
Yeah, it's like nothing else.
So Elaine turns and asks George, "Would you do that for $50?" And George says, "For $50, I would put my face in their soup and blow."
Great line.
Just an amazing.
That's a great line.
So good.
So
one of my favorites.
So real fast, I want to emphasize: would you do what Elaine did?
She wants to have fun with the boys.
True.
She can't. She's not as shameless as they are.
No.
And so she doesn't.
I don't think I could do it. So I would have to say no.
I think she got farther than George, but Jerry would have done it.
Yeah, I don't think I would be able.
I think Jerry would have been phased. He wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
Elaine got that far, but George wouldn't make it.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And if I knew the people.
$50. All right. I looked up. So little fun fact, right? $50 is not $50 today.
Oh, that's true. How much?
So I did it $112, baby.
Ooh.
I was gonna say for $100, I might consider it.
$112 nowadays. It's $112. She was offered $112 in nowadays money to go do that. I don't know. I might go do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now another thing.
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could actually do it.
I understand. It would be hard. So fair. I think there would be a walk-up cash prize. And then if you do it all the way, cash prize. Now, when she walks up, though, is it just me? I know she tells them, "Hey, I said this." I don't think she did. I think it was on her head.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. So first of all,
I've thought that, by the way, forever. That when she walks up and says something, shout out to Uncle Matt. When she walks up and says something, forever I was like, she did not say anything.
Yeah. So you think I figured it was voiceover, but you're saying no, she actually did not even say it.
I think her character even went back and said, "I said this." I don't think she said
funny.
Anything. I think she was that flustered and nervous and freaked out that it didn't even come out of her mouth.
I think she is saying it under her breath.
But it's clenched teeth. It's so hard to say some of those words. I don't know. But
maybe some mumbles came out because then you do have the people.
We hear Larry David go, "What'd you say?"
You could still hear Larry David.
Some sort of noise.
I was going to mention that Larry David's definitely one of the people not at the table, but making
Larry David cameo
conversation at the table.
We need to keep track.
Yeah.
That's the first time.
The first one?
Yeah, it's the first time we get Larry David. We get him physically sometimes. Like we'll see him when Kramer gets busted by the cops in the Keys episode in LA. Like he's just back there like, "Hello," like, and then you'll get his voice all the time though.
Yeah.
And he's also Frank Costanza's lawyer. And he wears a cape. Anyway, moving on. Like it's a whole thing.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So Elaine runs back.
And she runs back like a
giggling.
kid. She is giddy.
Yeah.
They are having fun, which is I love that.
Yeah.
They're having a good time.
Yeah.
It's great.
I
wrote, is she actually talking or dreaming it? Like I don't know.
The guy gets off the phone, so George starts to walk towards the payphone, and then
good line.
Oh yeah. And then this lady beats him to it, grabs the phone, and then George is like, excuse me, I was here first. And I do think this but her line, she says, well, if you were here first, then I think you would be holding the phone.
I was like, dude.
Which is amazing.
I was like, all right.
But I do think, like, clearly, I don't know. So anyway,
but George also said I was standing here. He wasn't.
Yeah, not the whole time.
No, he definitely was definitely like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
And not at the payphone. So in that moment, I'm like,
he wasn't standing there.
And to be fair, she wasn't long. She does get off in a minute or two.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but anyways, this of course flusters George greatly.
This is one of the first times he says this. Actually.
And then he says, "We're living in a society."
Yeah. In a society.
Yeah.
We're supposed to act in a civilized way.
Oh, so good. And that's just the first time he has like a tyrant like outburst like that because he does that a lot later, and this is kind of the first time where we're starting to see the unraveling we talked about, where everything was fine after the busboy. Yeah. George is losing it.
So, okay.
Elaine's losing it. She's hungry. George is losing it.
So
Jerry's laughing.
Elaine is still starving, and she decides she's gonna wander through the restaurant and look at the dishes and see what looks good.
Sure, like it's so weird.
Sure,
like,
Elaine.
So like, what are you doing?
But this is when we get the chance to hear from George the situation with Tatiana. Earlier in the episode, George has said, "I'm very lucky that she's even considering going out with me again after what happened." But he didn't say what happened. I think
it reminds me of Along Came Polly and Ben Stiller. And her.
Oh my God, it does. You were totally right, Mom.
It's been. Have I seen that movie?
Yeah, it has been a long time.
Okay, but what's the situation?
It is so exactly like that.
Ben Stiller has IBS. Jennifer Aniston, and they're first time. And like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and he clogs the toilet
right there,
and it's just
the apartment is tiny, and the bathroom is right there. There's no buffer zone.
Got nothing. Yeah. It is the same situation.
What I was gonna say is, I feel like this is one of the most relatable stories that I hear from George.
Yeah.
Right.
This had to happen to Larry David. That's the only reason why it's in this show. It did.
Anyways,
he writes everything.
George and Tatiana are on their first date. They go back up to her place. It's a small apartment. The bathroom is right next to the bedroom. Right. He says there's no buffer zone. Right. So then George...
And he's emphasizing the whole time, mind you, that this unstoppable force is just Dumb and Dumber style. Here it comes.
Basically, they're making out. They're getting busy. They're unclothed, or at least in some state of undress. And then George starts talking about, and then I realized, and I love
Jerry's eyeballs too. You see like he knows. Oh no! Yeah. Like we all kind of collectively, the audience with Jerry.
Like this could only happen to you.
Yes, and it's like, oh, bud, that sucks.
So like, George, the way George describes it is just incredible. This unstoppable force. I knew I was going to have to stop.
There is no
this bathroom.
Oh God!
With the level of privacy
I need. Also, there is no sexual anything that is gonna. That is going to overtake right now this movement. It's going to happen. So
I'm with George.
So he just leaves.
I'm like, okay, George, that makes sense. That really sucks for you.
Yeah.
And then he says, so I told Tatiana, really, I think it would be best if I leave. And Jerry says, you told her this after?
And they hear the audience all catch on again. We're like, oh no.
Says no, during.
He's like, And then which, I have right here, Jerry almost cracks asking after, like surely after. You can tell he's trying not to laugh. And he's like, no, during.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no. Yeah. So like, so one, okay, fair, but you gotta give her something, dude. You can't just say nothing and leave.
Yeah.
No, like.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God, that's horrible. Yeah.
No.
I don't think I'd be taking his calls.
So okay, so here's my question: if you're George, would you just come right out and say, "Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom"?
Nowadays, yes. 1991, probably not.
Okay.
Really, probably not. Just different. It's just different back then. Nowadays, like that's just memed or funny. Like, okay, oh my God, high five, bro. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like.
Well, I'm wondering why he even started if he was feeling a little bit gurgly.
Well, it is a woman. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was. It is a woman.
Oh, like, I got you.
Yeah, it's a woman.
He's not going to turn that down.
No. So, like, it's going well. Obviously, you're going to think, like, I probably have to go or something, but I'm okay for now. And all of a sudden, that turn happens. You're like, nope.
Right.
Like,
and
it just.
Does.
Yeah.
It's
and
like,
that's sudden. That is sudden.
Yeah.
So, I think, I don't know. The only thing I think he did wrong was just not explain a little to her.
Yeah.
But I think he obviously did now. Yeah. She's on the date.
He was embarrassed. I mean, I get it, but
that's so Larry.
Yeah. So he says it took me 3 phone calls just to get her to agree to maybe go out with me again.
I wouldn't go out with him again because I would just take that as like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
With no explanation. Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
So so I could see 3 phone calls. You're right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So okay. So Elaine shows back up, and that's when she brings up how special it was to go out to eat with your parents when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Like how fancy it was, how special.
And it was too. Yeah. So I get what she's saying because I used to be real fast. I used to be obsessed with this like McDonald's statue on top of the McDonald's. I was like 5. Yeah. And I remember the station wagon, Mom. I do. And I remember it, I don't know where, in Bradenton or Sarasota, where we're at. And it was like, I don't know, it's just like they painted it and put it on top of the McDonald's. And it was Ronald McDonald, but he was laying outside, like, doing his thing. But it always just like, oh my God. McDonald's. Yeah. And Grandma said I had a song. She made a song up for us. Burger King McDonald's, Burger King McDonald's, Burger King McDonald's.
I remember that.
And Grandma's just like, she's so mad. And I'm like, me and Christine, like, yeah, like, duh. Anyway. Mr.
But it's
Cohen.
True that we used to get taken to
So she has this real sweet.
Yes, I did not get it.
She has this real sweet memory of like what it was like to go out to eat with your parents when you were a kid, and how special it was. And then she says, "But now I just feel like a big sweaty hog waiting for them to fill up the trough." She is desperate.
She's so mad.
She is desperate.
She's pissed.
Honestly, if I were Elaine at this point,
he just needs a candy bar.
This is me. I don't think
she does. She needs a Snickers. She's mad. Yeah.
The Snickers.
I understand why.
She's like
Elaine,
Lawrence Taylor, and then she eats the Snickers back to Elaine. Like, all right, we're good. Yeah.
I understand why Elaine wouldn't do this, but if it were me, I'd be like, "Yo, I'll see y'all at the movie theater. I'm gonna go get some Sky Burger. Like I'm not waiting for this." But
it's not funny enough. It's not.
Yeah, it's not funny, and that's not Elaine's character.
True. She's gonna be stubborn.
So, anyways, to add fuel to the fire, another dude walks in, and Mr.
A regular
Cohen,
patron, apparently.
He's a regular. And
he knows the owners,
he makes like some small talk with the owner. And the owner's like, "Do you want a table?" And he says, "No, bring me some food here. Bring it out here and I'll eat it standing up," or something like that.
You're so funny. You're so funny. Let's go get you a table. And just leaves.
And they just walking through.
And they're just like, hey. Like,
So Elaine.
Now it could have been a table for 2, which wouldn't have fit 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's just I can tell though. They're just like.
Yeah. So Elaine gets mad.
So funny.
It is weird.
What does that mean? Where am I?
Is this a dream? What is God's name is going on here?
Yeah. So Elaine is losing it.
Losing her.
I think I skipped. Oh no, the bribing.
Guy said he's always here, and she's like, he just walked in, but he's always here. And then he says he lives on Park Avenue.
He lives on Park Avenue. They're like,
okay,
what?
Yeah. What is that?
So Mom and I were talking about that today. We couldn't help it. We were talking about that line. Plus, I love they do try again. Like, hey, our name's Seinfeld. And he's like, 5-10 minutes. Oh, Seinfeld 4. That's the second time they say it now. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So George's phone call thing. Elaine is starving to death. Jerry's thing is he's seen this woman, this familiar looking woman who's seated at a table. And George and Elaine don't recognize her. So finally this woman gets up and she's walking out and she says, "Hi, Jerry, how are you?"
And
that
goes
kind of thing.
On and on. Jerry does a master class.
Yeah, he really does a great job.
Saying nothing but everything at the same time because he has no idea who she is.
Yeah.
And he's just like, sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just, and Elaine finally lets him string along and she's just loving it.
Yeah.
And then finally just chimes in and saves him. Hi, I'm Elaine. Lorraine. Oh, and I love that because it's so relatable.
Yeah.
The friend always ask your friend if they know it. Just have that backup plan. Hey, I might need you. And if they do, hey, my name. When you get there, you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And they have a whole episode about this later.
Lorraine Catlano.
Yep. They have a whole episode.
Yeah.
And rhymes with a female body part. Anyway, so I wrote the Lorraine situation is very relatable. I've actually done that with my friends several times. I have been that person too on their end to be the Elaine to go, hey, and help them out.
Yeah.
You never know. I have learned though, I don't know if this was from Jerry and like just random stand-up he did or like advice, or somebody else I heard this from. If you see somebody and they're for sure, they know you and they know you, you can just tell they've met you and you've met them and you're in your head like, okay, who is this? Always say it's nice to see you because that can never be wrong. Nice to meet you again is rude because you've already met them. So just to cover your butt, always say nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, nice to see you again.
See you, and they'll be like, okay, like all good. You're good every time. You can say that when you greet. It's fine. And if you haven't seen them, then they correct you, and it's okay. They're like, oh, we never seen. Like, oh, okay, I thought so, and you just totally play that off. All good. You're totally fine. So.
So anyway, she comes out. Turns out he does know her. She works at his uncle's office. The uncle that he blew off dinner with.
Mystery uncle. We don't know who.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So now this next part I really appreciate. Jerry is complaining because he's like, oh, now I'm gonna have to. She's gonna see my uncle, and then my uncle will call my mother. My mother will call my sister. My sister will call me. And
then they cut for a commercial.
Yeah.
And when they come back, he's still talking about the family.
That is a joke used often today.
Yeah.
Like that was really very good.
But I
missed that every time I watched it. I never thought, oh, that's a commercial break.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah. So first of all, he mentions a sister that is never mentioned ever again.
Yep.
Right. But also as somebody who grew up, so I have my mom has 3 siblings with kids and all of that. I have family on my dad's side too. Plus I grew up going to church, right? And so I very much am aware of if you see somebody from church at the mall, they're going to tell their parents and then their parents are going to tell my parents, And so I'm very aware of the chain reaction of situation. And that was super relatable.
I wrote here, also relatable and very 90s. So just old school time. Love it.
Yeah.
The calls.
Yeah. So, okay. So they talk a little bit more about Plan 9, the best bad movie ever made. Yeah. Maybe for a special episode one day we'll watch.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun little thing to do with. It's a good idea.
So then I can't believe that Elaine let herself. I can't believe she volunteered to do this. So she's telling Jerry and George she wants one of them to go bribe I guess he's the owner of the restaurant. We
don't even know. He might just be a host. Okay, I'll take the $20. Who cares?
So first of all, So George has a thing where they decide to split the $20 evenly, and George says, "All right, 7, 7, 6," which is again amazing.
I remember that joke the most when watching it younger than anything, because in my head I went, "What?" I was like, "Oh, dude, that's okay. All right, yeah, whatever, George. All right, sure, okay, I see you. Yeah, like okay.
Here he is again with a damn dollar.
And then Jerry, I'm counting your shrimps.
Yeah. So then,
what? I'm not going to eat that much.
I can't believe that Elaine, she already did this egg roll thing, and now she's the one who said, "Oh, I can't do that." But why is she the one going to do it? And she,
I don't know.
Take it. It's so funny. She's like holding out the bill.
All right, so audience, she has a $20 bill. She goes up to the guy again. The same person. He's a smile, hello, and he's like, "Oh, very busy tonight." And she's like, "Here," and she like just crumples it in front of him, doesn't say nothing. He doesn't even notice it. Yeah. And then she grabs it again and she's like, "Take it."
She says, "We're really anxious to sit down." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he turns the page to go check
over on the money. Yeah.
And it covers up the money. So then she grabs it and then take it. So in my notes, this is where I wrote down, like, I wanted to talk about the maitre d' or the owner or whatever his role is. What's his deal? Is he like, does he secretly not like them? Is he really like?
Again, we don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no motive. I don't think so, actually. I think he's just.
Yeah, I think he's just overlooking them. He doesn't really care.
I think I don't know. Not that. I don't think I've been a hostess. You can't care. Like your turn's coming. Yeah. But also, I think their turn was just. That's how long it took.
Yeah, and because it happens in real time.
23 minutes sometimes sounds right.
Are very impatient. Like I wanted to, the first time that Jerry walks up and like checks on the time, I wanted to pause it and see what the timestamp on the episode was.
That's why you asked.
Yeah, but it was fine. Like we couldn't figure it out.
That's okay.
But
that's a good point.
They have to ask like 7 minutes into the wait or something. Which like.
Yeah, that's a little aggressive. I'd say, well, the first time they asked, they're not really stressed too bad. They're just asking.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's kind of.
But
I think for the contents of you can't make the episode longer. So I think pretty close.
I think if I were the maitre d'
times 0.5 speed everything, and that's like
I would have
legit time now. 10 minutes to ask.
I would have been super entertained by this group of weirdos in my lobby.
Like,
you know,
what is wrong with y'all? It's like
so. Anyway,
I wrote right here. Elaine sucks at bribing. Yeah.
Yes. So she does an awful job. They actually make Jerry go and take the money back.
And I wrote Jerry sucks at bribing as well.
Yeah. So then, so George does eventually. I think we might have skipped this, but George did eventually get onto the phone. And he left a message for Tatiana telling her to call him at the restaurant.
We're getting close. We're in there. So
she wasn't there. Yeah, yes, I have that part back here, but yeah, she wasn't there.
There's just a brief Seinfeld fall because again he goes, "Hey, can we look at how long do we have?" Oh, and he's like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend? Very, very beautiful." Mm-hmm. He's like, "Oh, well, you know, she used to be my girlfriend." And then he's like, "Oh, relationships are difficult. It's 5-10 minutes," and they're just like, "Great, same spot. Yeah. They're in the same spot." So Dennis and fall, and then Dennis and walk all, and they're like,
"Yeah." So another group of people gets called back. They're like, "Oh, they were here before us," which were they?
I loved. We watched it. We always watch these twice. I forgot to make a note just to double check. Same. And just to double check that I don't know. I don't think, I think again, Elaine is just losing it and she's wrong.
Yeah.
They weren't there.
That's what makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense and it's funnier. But who knows? It's just still pretty funny. The way they react was good.
Yeah.
So, George, again, So to kind of piggyback off what you said a second ago, and Mom said too, they said, George calls, "Hey, Tatiana, we don't get really a detailed message on his end. We don't hear."
But he left her a voicemail.
Yes, left her a voicemail. And he knew, though, that was a bad sign because she probably already left. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to catch her right. She's going to call back. So I'm a little ahead now.
Now they say now Elaine's basically like, well, I want to eat. I have to eat. We can eat in the cab. We can eat. And then George is like, or no, Jerry's like, we can eat at the movies. And she's like, yeah, they have big picnic tables there.
They are arguing, and it's so funny. Like, and they're just, she's pissed. She's trying
going to Skyburger.
You can tell Jerry's trying not to laugh at everything. Like,
I would be so mad if I were Elaine. Oh no, I'd be like, "Yo, bye, I'm out." Like,
George dropping with Tatiana. Jerry's just laughing.
I'm starving, and you're laughing. Like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not dealing with this.
I love it. So good. So finally, George, he's paranoid, so he just wants to make sure. He goes, "Hey, please if you, I told." He relays what he said to the maitre d', and also on the voicemail, he said, "Look for a short, stocky, bald man."
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what he said, obviously, because he just gave it a name. Mm-hmm. So Costanza, fine. Now, all right, this is a t-shirt. I don't care. I've seen it before on that the relevant Seinfeld or whatever channel is on YouTube on Instagram, because they do have Seinfeld shirts, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So we hear. Cartwright, and then Cartwright, just, whatever, but nobody's really super paying attention, whatever. But it reminds George, oh yeah, my name. Like, hey, let me just check again. And again, you're right. That's why I think add 50% speed to everything, because if you in real time, sure, but just they would then ask the first time at around 10 minutes, and the end of it would be 35, 40ish minutes instead of just 22, and or a little minute 30ish, but. So George, he goes, did you Costanza? And I love how this is where Elaine's theory might be a little true, because the man obviously just heard the word Costanza, said, yes, I say Cartwright, like not even close, but like, just confirmed Costanza, Cartwright, and then said it, and then I see she say curse word, I hang up, and he's just like, he called me Cartwright. He called who Cartwright? Me? You're not Cartwright. I know I'm not Cartwright.
Yeah, it's
so good. George is so good.
The rage in his voice.
He just the escalation, the timing. Good.
Yeah.
Good
so
stuff.
Finally, they start to bail. Elaine is like, I'm going to Skyburger. Jerry says, but it's in the opposite direction.
She doesn't even care anymore about it.
So what's the I know that they all march out of the restaurant, but where are they headed? Are they going to the movie? Yeah. We don't really know.
No, it's just it's yeah.
So I do have to say, I find the idea of them as a group going to a bad movie together really endearing. Like, that's fun, that's cute. That's sweet.
It's a very Jerry thing to do.
Yeah. But then, of course, 5 seconds after the three of them walk out of the restaurant, we hear
Seinfeld 4. Yep.
Right.
So good. The crowd loved. They ate it up because they get it. They all went, yep, and everybody's been there before.
Yeah.
And it's totally relatable.
So
they did a good job.
Yeah. So then, cut to stand-up number 2. We have not had any interruptions.
Just this 2, and they don't. It's
so Jerry wraps up the episode with a bit on cannibalism and how hunger will make people do incredible things.
Yep.
So that's,
and he's like, and if I'm a cannibal, like, who's this person? Are we Frank? Joe?
Yeah.
All right, it's pretty good.
About how paranoid cannibals must be at night.
I bet.
Which is funny.
Yeah,
like, I had not thought about that.
That's pretty good. Like, who's behind me? Or just, who's there? Mr. Marbles? Yeah. And plus, they have a whole other cannibal bit about, like, George and Jerry later. We'll just finish on this.
Okay.
Where George is very upset that Jerry would eat Kramer first and not George. and then Jerry ends it with, okay, if everybody's having some, I'll try you. I'll try. Like, I'll give you a bite. Like, if everybody's trying some, I'm down. You know, it was just George was like legit upset. Like, good. Like, he was trying not to cry. Yeah.
So to wrap up this episode, who do we think, if we pick like our favorite character or the character who won? Like, I think Jerry had the best time out of everyone, probably.
Yeah, Elaine, though, is just a trip in this episode.
Yeah, Elaine,
and George has some so good moments, but there's just so many lines from Elaine that hold up, I think. Like, I'm going to Skyburger, and she's just, all of her stuff. She's so mad the whole time. She does a lot of different things in this episode she hasn't done yet. She's very physical. It's kind of more about her, really, than anybody else the whole time. She's got all the lines, got all the spots. So, yeah, Elaine. But also the Mater D or whatever, he was a trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in a Rush Hour.
He's so funny.
I knew he looked familiar.
He's in a bunch of movies and stuff.
Everything.
He's in great. Everything. Yes, he's in like CSI episodes, all kinds of stuff.
He's great.
So.
Okay.
Next week is the phone message.
The phone message.
Hasn't seen it. She hasn't seen it.
Ooh,
you will see a whole new side of Elaine.
Oh boy.
That you never ever see ever again. Or yet.
That's really, right after.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a good one. So that's next week. Again, I'm asking every week. Every week I'm asking, we're always talking to the guests who've been on before. We got John, we have Uncle Matt. We have the future guests we want on here, like Brie. I have a good friend of mine that texted me earlier too, and he's been binging Seinfeld. And I was like, all right, I was like, all right, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna get him on for season 3. I'm gonna talk to him, like, hey, look at season 3, pick what episode you want, and there you go. Just let me know which one you want, so he'll know what that means. Hopefully, we'll get him on soon. I'm not spoiling it right now, but he's on a much bigger YouTube channel. So it'd be very nice.
Oh, there goes the spoiler.
Yeah, no, it's still nope. That's not a spoiler.
Audience, they don't.
No, they don't know.
Yeah.
And
we know, but they don't know.
Now, so yeah, phone message coming up. Next week will be episode 12, and I think we're plugging around pretty good.
Yeah.
A shout out to Freaky Things.
Shout out to Freaky Things. All their shirts I saw at
that looks super cool.
Corey got to see them when he was here. They're awesome. I love them, and thank you, Freaky Things.
Yeah, high quality, very cool stuff. So, yeah, everybody did good.
Thank you, Studio 1213 for making them.
I was gonna say that I couldn't remember the name too. So that's definitely something I will work through before as well, because they are worth it. Now, we'll have merch at some point too, random, but we will.
Oh yeah, we'll start merch at some point.
Very excited. The first thing will be the shirt. Will be the Get Out logo with the colors. Has to be that. But then we'll probably have like random like quotes we've done or whatever. So, anything else?
Okay. A poll, I guess. Let's do a poll.
Okay.
Would you have done what Elaine did?
Yeah. Would you do the egg roll thing?
Yep.
Okay, that'll be the poll. Would you take some food off a plate to win a bet? From random strangers.
$112 in today's money.
Yeah.
I think that matters. I don't know. I think people like $50, but they see the 112, and that's the ratio different. She was dealing with. She did say yes pretty quick. So, and say to George, he was like, I would have done it. So like $112, that's a lot. Like, all right.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
All right. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.